Greetings, everyone. My name is Abigail Nduto from Zimbabwe, and my colleague is Ibrahim Sahir from Nigeria. We are the team Affirmative of Group 4. We argue and support that cultural and indigenous knowledge systems should play a formal role in shaping genetic research policies in Africa. Culture is defined as the shared values, beliefs, and practices that shape community life. Indigenous knowledge systems refer to the traditional knowledge passed down from generation to generation. Integration works because it promotes ethical justice by ending genetic colonialism. It improves scientific accuracy and promotes equity in research. Africa boasts 17% of the world population, but contributes less than 2% to global genomic datasets. Thus, integration will result in more accurate, ethical, and beneficial research. Africa holds the world's greatest genetic diversity, yet biopiracy and exclusion persist. Biopiracy is the exploitation of resources without consent and without benefit to the local communities. We have an example of the Rooibos tea saga, whereby billions of rands were generated from Khoisan traditional knowledge without consent and with zero benefit to the masses. The result was mistrust and low participation. As of 2025, approximately 9 African countries had strong traditional knowledge legislation. Thus, we support integration of IKS into policy formulation. There are protective instruments in place to protect indigenous rights and resources. These include the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, Article number 31 of 2007. We have the Nagoya Protocol of 2010, ratified by 48 African countries, but yet to reach full implementation. We have the WIPO Treaty of 2024. We have the AU Model Law on Biosafety, and we have the South African Indigenous Knowledge Systems Policy of 2004, which formally recognizes IKS as a developmental asset. We argue Africa is not merely a source of genetic samples, it is the custodian of humans' genetic diversity. Genetic research which ignores culture is not neutral, it is incomplete. Excluding IKS makes genomics blind, unethical, and inequitable. And we have evidence to prove that integrating IKS into policy formulation actually works. We have the Sun Code of 2017, the Rooibos Agreement of 2019, and the 2024 WIPO Treaty. Thus, we strongly affirm that culture and IKS must play a formal role in shaping genetic research policies across Africa. Because we believe science plus culture results in accurate, ethical, powerful African genomics. There are projects which are enjoying greater trust, higher participation, and more equitable outcomes. These include H3 Africa, UNESCO, as well as the World Health Organization. And this was achieved through integration. We argue ethical legitimacy requires cultural integration, whereby we are saying ethics is not universal, but it is locally and culturally mediated. Western bioethics prioritize autonomy, but African ethics prioritize Ubuntu. Thus, exclusion of IKS results in continuation of colonial extraction. We have the Sun Code of Research Ethics 2017 as evidence. It is the first indigenous developed code in Africa, which proves that integration works. It requires community approval, benefit sharing, and respect, resulting in equitable partnerships between the community and researchers. We have the H3 Africa's Community Engagement Initiative, whereby the Community Advisory Board reduced consent refusal rates by up to 30% compared to standard consent models, thus proving that integration protects against biopiracy and exploitation. We believe integration protects indigenous rights and prevents biopiracy. Genetic research builds on indigenous knowledge. However, without formal integration of the indigenous knowledge, this becomes a legalized form of extraction. We have evidence to support our case. We have the Woodia case of the San people of South Africa, and we have the Neem and Basmati rice patent disputes of India, whereby there was patenting of resources without consent and benefit to the local populations. However, all these were overturned by sustained advocacy, proving that integration promotes policy inclusivity and social equity. Scientific quality and relevance improve with IKS. IKS has an edge over Western genomics and contributes to, for example, phenotypic knowledge unavailable in genomic databases, and also proffering locally relevant research questions. The World Organization 2022 report states that over 70% of Africans rely on traditional medicine. However, genomic policies do not integrate this knowledge into research governance. We have the H3 Africa Community Engagement Initiative, actually enjoying higher participation and richer data outcomes due to integration. We have the Maori hybrid model, which is also enjoying faster translation and better outcomes because of integration. The economic and developmental imperatives actually benefit from integration, whereby we are saying formal integration unlocks bioeconomy value, with the Rooibos Benefit Sharing Agreement of 2019 as supporting evidence, whereby the Khoisan communities are enjoying the fruits of integration. They've benefited over 42.7 million rand in terms of community development, jobs, as well as sovereign innovation, thereby proving that integration promotes equitable access and benefit sharing, promoting community development. We believe public trust and participation depend on the cultural respect. Africa's history of exploitative research has resulted in cultural exclusion, leading to resistance, protest, and withdrawal. We have some projects in West Africa which lacked traditional leader engagement, thereby first collapse. But integration is feasible, and we have proven precedents in the form of the OGEC project of Kenya, the Sun Code of 2017 of South Africa, which is now a cross-border model being adopted in Namibia as well as Botswana. We have the Rooibos Agreement of 2019, which is a self-sustaining benefit sharing model. We have Maori genomics, which demonstrate that hybrid governance works globally, thereby affirming that integration improves public trust and participation. Our opponents argue culture is a barrier to innovation and will slow down science, but we argue ethical governance does not stop innovation. We have hybrid models which accelerate trust and enrollment. We have the H3A as an example, whereby higher participation was being experienced and trust reducing resistance and delays. Opponents will argue science is universal and IKS lacks scientific rigor. However, we argue scientific facts may be universal, but research ethics are local and cultural. IKS actually strengthens science, and this has been validated repeatedly. Opponents argue Africa is too diverse, but we are saying diversity is not a weakness, but a reason for inclusive design of policy. We have an example of the Sun Code, which is working across borders. Opponents will argue IK integration will deter investments, but we say we have examples where it has been successful. The Rooibos Agreement proves that integration results in responsible investment and prevents scandals. So we have tangible evidence that integration works. Our closing statement says Africa's genetic future cannot be built by ignoring its cultural past and present. IKS is not an obstacle, but it is an ethical compass. It is a correction of history of exploitation. African genomics is to serve African people, then African knowledge must help shape the rules. The future of African genomics will be built with its indigenous peoples, whereby research will be ethical, accurate, equitable, sovereign, and transformative. The time for integration is now. Our references, thank you for listening.